Okay, hopefully this will be a quick one. What we're looking at here is three sections of a t-shirt or undervest, and it's got the square and the compass and a ruler. And this quote here, I don't know exactly who it is saying it, but it's from something I've already read from, and maybe I'll go through this whole Substack later. The name of the Substack author, I think, is Anon Famous. But anyway, the URL is anonfamous.substack.com. And this particular article, it's a very long article, is the Tim Ballard rabbit hole. I'm just starting from another section here. So this quote says, "I can't believe as a member that I never knew I was wearing Masonic symbols on my underwear every day. No one tells you before you go through the temple that Joseph Smith took almost everything from the Masons. And I'd argue almost no members know this today." So there we are, the Masonic symbols, the square, the compass, and the ruler. 24-inch gauge, 2 feet. The means that the Mormon Church believe occult symbols equals good. Or maybe he means to say this means that. Equals good. They wear magical pajamas that include Masonic symbolism, and Joseph Smith comes from a long line of Freemasons. Glenn Beck, who, by the way, was born into a Catholic family, maybe was just nominally, a bit like myself, although we did go to church, but I stopped going to church when I was a teenager. Maybe Glenn Beck was similar. Maybe he wasn't that pushed about his Catholic faith, but at some point, anyway, he decided to become a Mormon, a member of the Church of the Latter-day Saints of Jesus Christ. And that's another story. We'll go more deeply into that, but he did work in Provo, Utah. And he currently works for the Blaze Media, which seems to be owned by Mormons as well, or fully stocked with them anyway. So Glenn Beck and Tim Ballard are pushing a strange agenda. I think you're going to like this, focusing on putting a certain country on a pedestal. Maybe I'll see if I can make the text a bit bigger here so that you can read it. Maybe better if you're on a phone. So that's made it a bit too big, which has made the thing push on to Tim's sister Emily. But we don't need to, I think, go that far at the moment. And sorry for losing my place here. Gosh darn it. Well, at least you can see that this is sort of authentic. Or maybe it's gone prior there. Well, there's Tim Ballard, in case you missed another video, right? This is advertising for another video that I'll put up around the same time. There's Tim Ballard with Melvin Ballard, Melvin Russell Ballard, I think it is, Jr., who I don't know if that's his father or grandfather. It might be, but at least they're in the same, photographed in the same place there. This guy Melvin is the third most senior person in the Church of Mormons, or Latter-day Saints, whatever. Anyway, if I scroll back or scroll down, hopefully I'll get to where I was. His sister is the PR agent for Operation Underground Railroad. Tim Ballard, right, there's more to go into there. Oh, connection with Hillary Clinton, possibly. There he is. There's Tim Ballard wearing a Mason tie. That's the tie with the G in the center for whatever it stands for. You know, it could stand for a lot of different things with the square and the compass. And there he is wearing the tie. What does it say? Listen, as soon as I've skipped my place here, it says Tim Ballard wore a Freemason tie to his meeting in Argentina. Attorney General Juan Bautista Mahiquez, in charge of the City Public Prosecutor's Office, and Timothy Ballard, president of the Operation Underground Railroads organization, signed an agreement, not railroads, railroad, signed an agreement to promote institutional collaboration through the development of mutual cooperation and interinstitutional assistance actions. Well, who could argue with that? Anyway, let's see if I can get back to the Glenn Beck thing now. I only meant this to be a real quick one. Glenn Beck, friends with Tim Ballard and Freemason. Why was Glenn Beck in a movie produced by James Alefantis? Look, I'm going to have to come back to that part later, right? Glenn Beck and Ted Cruz publicly worship George Washington's Masonic compass. Oh, I said this is going to be a quick one. I'm going to have to do a longer one later on this. But here we are. Glenn Beck and Tim Ballard are pushing a strange agenda focusing on putting a certain country, right? On a pedestal. Let's see if I can get away with playing this. Gosh darn it. It's just... Okay, I'm doing it live. I'm imitating somebody doing an impression of that fellow who was on Fox News, but hasn't been for a long, long time. And I can't even remember his name. He was supposed to be an Irish guy. Anyway, here's Glenn Beck talking to Tim Ballard.
The generation of the founders, and George Washington and the founders made a covenant with God, and it is the reason why we were founded, why we were protected, and why Israel was established.
Uh-oh.
Now, Timothy Ballard has the book out, The Covenant, and it is a theory that you're not going to get anyplace else. You're probably one of the very few, besides David Barton and me, that get teary-eyed talking about this stuff.
I get emotional. And then what happens?
I'm just going to skip back a little bit, right? It's only a short video. I said it was only going to be a short video, but I'm going to skip back and just... Did I see what I thought I saw?
Me, that get teary-eyed talking...
I have to go back before the teary-eyed business.
Has the book out, The Covenant, and it is a theory that...
So did he just say Tim Ballard, the guy we're looking at there, the guy of Operation Underground Railroad? I mean, I'm learning as I go here. Maybe you all know this, that he wrote this book called The Covenant, One Nation Under God. America's sacred and immutable connection to ancient Israel by Timothy Ballard. Really? Oh, let me just go back to just double check to hear what I think I thought that I might have heard.
Why we were founded, why we were...
Oh, sorry. I'll go back to the beginning. Sorry.
The generation of the founders, and George Washington and the founders made a covenant with God, and it is the reason why we were founded, why we were protected, and why Israel was established. Now, Timothy Ballard has the book out, The Covenant, and it
has a book out. Timothy Ballard has a book out. The guy sitting there, the director or whatever he is, CEO of Operation Underground Railroad, or was, maybe has been kicked out, who knows. The guy's saving all them kids down in Mexico, or is it Colombia, or is it Haiti, or who knows. Tim Ballard wrote this book, America's Sacred and Immutable. What does immutable mean? It means unchangeable, right? So tied at the hip to ancient, you know what. Oh, God. Oh, boy.
It is a theory that you're not going to get anyplace else. You're probably one of the very few, besides David Barton and me, that get teary-eyed talking about this stuff.
Glenn Beck gets teary-eyed talking about the fact that America is joined at the hip to... Well, he said it.
I get emotional. And then what happens?
And he gets emotional. And then what happens? Tell us, Tim. What happens then?
It's not over yet. George Washington comes out and takes his oath, raises his arm in the fashion of a covenant maker, and places his hand on the Bible. But not just on the Bible, but in the Bible.
But in the Bible. Well, maybe he's got the wrong picture. Maybe in his mind's eye he's thinking of some other image, because the hand is on the Bible there. But I don't know. Let's move on anyway. Because I thought he was going to say on the Book of Mormon, not the Bible. But we'll see anyway.
Where he placed his hand told the world and the nation that he understood the covenants of Israel and...
Really? Really, did it? I mean, we'll have to see what he was looking at, because he seems to be reading a hell of a lot into it. Or maybe we'll have to go look at Timothy's book and read his explanation. There seems to be a very rich seam here, a very deep rabbit hole to go down. I didn't know it was going to be like this when I first started casually looking into Tim Ballard and the Sound of Freedom.
He understood this covenant had been imported by the founders into the United States of America.
Oh, boy. Oh. And look, did you see that Believe Me look? I'll have to go back for the Believe Me look.
The generation...
He's, I mean... You know, I've said before, like, that I'm kind of trying to stretch things. He looks really angry. He's going to go, you must believe. But he's, but you have to believe. The Believe Me look, you know. Oh, yes. So I would say he's acting there. He's portraying. And sorry if that was all a bit loud there, but he gets teary-eyed, very passionate. So we'd have to go, oh my God, the man is passionate. Believe him. No time for questions. Just believe him. Right, I'm going to leave it there because I said it was going to be a short one. We'll leave that as a teaser then for going into this in more depth at some point. Oh boy. Look, sorry if I'm getting any of this wrong, or you happen to know all of this already. But this, I'm learning as we go, and at least you'll know if I'm making mistakes along the way, that at least it's honest, you know? I didn't rehearse any of that other than, again, I read something and go, all right, I better stop and just bring this to your attention in case you didn't know. Right, cheers, thanks for listening. Talk to you later at some point.